What?
Welcome to Buff Manor Finance Committee. We have a roll.
Ms. Cheney, Mr. Fisher,
Here.
Mr. Knipp,
Here.
Mr. Morris,
Here,
Ms. Snyder.
Here.
motion to excuse Ms. Cheney.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a motion to adopt today's agenda. Motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did everybody have a chance to review last session's? Yeah.
I don't see anything. It was mainly in front of you. I didn't-
I was not here.
Yes, I did not see any changes. Make a motion to adopt. Minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Moneyman, Mr. Criminal, you have a report for us.
I've got a report. Oh, do I have a report? Okay, for the month of June, fiscal year 2023, the village had a combined bank balance of $3,469,564.23. Of this amount, $1,745,822.85 can be found in the village's primary checking account, while the balance resides in several village dedicated funds. Some exciting news about that I will share in a later paragraph. I invite you all to follow along, of course, on the financial packet, which I spend hours slaving away preparing for you. But anyway, the village generated $85,401.60 in general fund income tax receipts. This is a significant reduction from June of the previous year. However, that is due to RETA collections just being lower than in the previous year, and that in June 2022 there was a payment received for delinquent taxes of over $10,000. So that payment happens to have been received by us in May of 23. So the books are a little bit, all over the place for those 2 months, but it all balances out for the year, where we've collected $523,558.65 in income tax receipts. That is 3.5% higher than June fiscal year 22. So we are certainly ahead for the year and in good shape. There was no change to property tax in June. Again, we've received the first disbursement of real estate taxes from the county. The second is expected in August. The village received $133,926.22 in general fund receipts. That number is $147,163.57 less than June of fiscal year 2022. Now that may sound very scary, but again, if we're all keeping score, which I hope we certainly are, we would remember that the loss of revenues is due to the pass-through tax levy from Little Miami in June of 2022. That all transferred to the fire levy for this year, so that will not be an actual reduction in received funds necessarily. It's just simply no longer in the general fund. Most of what we discuss is the general fund, and for those who follow any of the postings that the village puts out, that the administration puts out on the website, much of what we do report there and here is the general fund. So the village received $3,562.39 in reimbursable overtime from the DEA program. That was more significant. That was a larger number than in previous months due to some procedural hiccups, we'll call it. But that is back where it's supposed to be. And as mentioned last month, historically, both June and July are slower months for the DEA program in terms of seizures and receiving a portion of those seizures. But again, the village does continue to project receipts of more than $200,000 for the year for that program. We're just at about $200,000 projecting, still higher than previous years. But when compared to the first 4 months of the year, it seems like things have really slowed down to a trickle or almost stopped. But again, summer months. The Star Ohio Fund earned $6,587.83 for the month of June. totaling $26,538.18 for 2023. Again, this is very exciting. We expect that investment funds will continue to increase. I just heard back from, this is news also to you a little bit, I just heard back from Fifth Third that they were able to set up our savings account, which will give us right now at about 3% interest. So for all of the money that we don't have in the Star Fund, just money that we don't have to move straight over to our general fund bank account, a couple $100,000 will be sitting at 3% for the year. So again, all of these things just being managed and paid attention to. It's a drop in the bucket when you consider, well, what's $6,000 compared to $3 million, but every little bit helps. And every penny that we have invested like that obviously is giving us bigger returns than the 0.01% interest we were receiving in the general fund. There's more on that, I think, probably by the next month's finance report that we'll be talking a little bit about maybe some specific decisions will need to be made. I'm not sure exactly yet. I'm still working on some details with the state auditor. Top 5 pays for the month were Adlita, payroll, Deer Park Silverton, as is pretty much every month, somewhere between 2 and 3. Andrew Fetter is the shade sale vendor, so he's going to be up there, obviously, for June, and Rumkey. Total village fund, general fund appropriation spend for the month was in the amount of $179,202.09. That's $34,216.70 less than June of fiscal year 22. The village had 33 outstanding payments that totaled over $500,000, the bulk of which is the payment to Adlita. That payment was for WeHe. The village administration will continue to monitor appropriation spend and make any adjustments deemed necessary. Any questions? Now betting for Cincinnati.
Just basically get a shot. I just get a shot of Red Bull. Great.
Thank you, Mr. Krenner, for the financial packet. Do you have an update on the bank account for fraudulent activity?
For fraudulent activity, we have not seen, I think there was 1 or 2 transactions attempted in July. June already was when most of the bulk of those transactions took place. There were attempts, but nothing has been successful because of the block that we had on the account. I have since moved all but $3,000 out of that account. Everything else is in the new account. We had 6 outstanding checks from before 2022. One was as old as 2019. Those checks the warrants within our accounting system have since been voided, and that will reflect on the next financial report. That I think all but 1 or 2 will be gone. The problem is that we have vendors from 2022 who still haven't cashed some of our checks. So now it's a matter of basically the clerk's office reaching out to them one last time, giving them that last chance, saying, hey, if you don't cash it, you're going to have to come back to us and ask us to reissue it, which, I mean, some of these older checks, like they didn't cash the check and then they wrote it off. So that goes into an unclaimed monies account and then gets forgiven after 5 years, just goes into our general fund. I believe it's 5 years or 7 years. That was something I have to clarify with the auditor as well. But again, most of that is, I mean, all of the fraud has basically come to a standstill, and just a matter of tying up those loose ends. It's a matter of closing with those vendors and making sure that we're receiving all of our incoming money from the state, from the county, has to be coming to our general fund bank account, the new one. I just noticed today that we received something from the state in our old bank account, even though we've updated all of the information. I don't understand why that is. I double checked with Jennifer Zapp, who's at the Ohio State Treasurer's office. She said, oh yeah, we have your new information. Everything's updated. And I said, well, we received a payment from you guys on our old account. So maybe you can help me figure this one out. If you can, again, because I wasn't here when any of that was set up. So it's just kind of trying to reverse engineer where that might be coming from. And apparently those departments are less than forthcoming because the bank statements just say state of Ohio. So we shall see.
total, did we lose any money or all got reimbursed?
Every penny was reimbursed. So you'll notice on the finance packet, if you go to the bank rec, which this is really getting into the weeds, and if you're not interested, you can totally tune out at this point. But if you go up to the bank,
Which page?
I'm trying to find it. I apologize. There should be. I don't know if it might be in the last month's because I had already made the adjustment. Yeah, no, it's not in this month's. So on page 3, but not of this month's, of last month's bank rec, you'll see where there was an $1,800 adjusting factor. That has been eliminated in this month's bank rec. So again, for those keeping score, you would have seen the difference on page 3 from last month and the previous month. That last month does not have that because all of that money had been recovered. It was all at the beginning of June. So, I mean, by the end of June, it would have been very weird for it not to have been corrected.
All right, perfect, thank you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just a quick update on the audit. We have complied with every request. It has not been a difficult task. They've had a few questions on some of the procedures that we did just in terms of the money that we got from Little Miami, which was just an interesting exchange, being that came from a severance that didn't come straight to us from our own fire levy. So there was a few questions there, but essentially everything has been very straightforward. They've received everything that they need. They think that they're going to be wrapping up not this week, but the beginning of next week. Technically, we have applied for an extension, which would go until the end of August, but it's highly unlikely that we need it past the first full week of August. So that's where audit is holding. We'll get the draft, hopefully, again, early next week and be able to close by the end of that week or beginning of the following.
Thank you, Mr. Bergman, for that update. Our next financial committee meeting will be scheduled for Monday, August 14th at 6:30. I have a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, sir. This is a comment on the initial fiscal report. I appreciate how well those reports have been coming along. Early on, I had made the request about finding a way to use more graphs, things that can make these reports more human readable to a resident. Oftentimes, I think we've all had the experience of a resident that's expressing a lot of concerns about how the money's being spent. And I think that can be addressed very well when we're presenting our data in a way that's more human readable. My ideal would be is for the finance committee to report, even if it's just like a 30-second report in each of the meetings about what has been done to make these reports more human readable, right? And have that be a continuing process of improvement, right? I'd appreciate that a lot. Ultimately, I know you guys are doing a lot, and I put that to the chair as whether that's a reasonable request, but I think it's something that certainly the residents have already appreciated how much those reports have become more readable over time. But I still like seeing my my pie charts and all that, and make things a lot easier to understand. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that's a question.
Did everybody see the article on the website, by the way?
Yes, by the way, excellent job, Eric.
Thank you.
I know I passed that along already. Good job.
Appreciate that.
I just saw it today, so I'm presuming a lot of people will make a comment about it to make sure everyone gets eyes on that. It was really well done.
Thank you.
Okay. Whose favorite part? Do we have a motion to adjourn? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're clear?